how you can use science and technology for the well-being of the society. First, there are many scientists who have worked in the globe in scientific areas. Okay? But I always believe in presenting what I have done than presenting what Madam Curie worked on and what is the achievements and all. So that's the thing. That's why when you look at the slides, probably in 1 hour or 1 hour 5 minutes, you will come to know what we have done at IISC.
Sir, I have one question. Before you start, you want to know a little bit about your background because you told that.
Actually, come to know when you look at the slide, that you will come to know. See, that is what the curiosity has to be there. Curiosity will be there only when the information is not given the doorstep. Okay. So now everyone wants to know who I am. Okay. But at the end of the thing, you should tell me what I am. Okay. So now, the agenda of our science is to ensure clean air, water, and environment for everyone. Okay, that is what is sustainability or sustainable development means. If everyone have clean air and water, I say that country or that region is a prosperous region. It is not just some few elites having a clean water. Everyone, irrespective of their economic status, if they have that. See, that is our science. Providing clean water and air to everyone is the science. That is possible. It's not that difficult. Okay. And when there is a sustenance of natural resources, there will be peace and prosperity. Wherever the resources are there in plenty, you don't see any conflict. Conflicts happens only when there is a scarcity. When the water is not coming, or when water comes for a short duration, you will see near the street tap there are fights. Two neighbors, very good friends, but near the tap they will be fighting. So that means the conflicts comes there. Okay. So now, if you want to give the clean air and water and the resources to everybody, one has to take appropriate decision. That is what I call it a responsible decision making. Who are these people who are responsible? People who are sensible or responsible. Now you might ask, who are these sensible fellows? On in talk also I just elaborated on that. Those who have the environmental knowledge become sensible because they know the consequence of their decision. Otherwise, builder who is building an apartment complexes think that water body is useless or a tree is useless. Okay. So had he or she had a knowledge about environment, probably that problem wouldn't have happened. In fact, that is where environmental literacy makes the person more responsible. And one of the things Supreme Court also said is environmental education has to be at all levels. Though it was introduced in the curriculum as per the Supreme Court the ruling, but it is taught by people who doesn't know about environment. The geography teacher who has not even studied environment will come to the class and just read out the thing. So the teacher will know the thing, now by the end of the day student will know. So one of the messages here is make environment education a mandatory so that everyone knows about how the nature functions. Okay. Now, you all have studied in your school. This is my last program. What is this? I will take a lecture for 1 hour, but I will study no response. Food chain. When you look at the food chain, you would have studied in the school that producers, consumers, etc. But look at the way the nature functions. Producers are producing food which is eaten by the next level. That means there is an energy and material transfer happen from one level to the other level. And finally, whatever is left in the system, you see this bacteria and fungi, bioengineers convert that into elemental form. That's where in the nature, there is something called waste. Where do you see waste? You will see waste where waste fellows are there. What is waste fellows? The people who use too much of synthetic material are the waste fellows. Because that is where when you sensitize them, probably you will reduce the waste in the system. As a student of engineering, if you have studied the textbook properly, you have learned the principles of thermodynamics. There are 3 laws of thermodynamics, isn't it? I just want to know the first 3 laws of thermodynamics. Yes, my friend with a pink shirt, can you tell me what are the 3 laws of thermodynamics? You and assured me that will answer to my question. Yes. You said I can ask you the question. I looked at everybody and asked you, but you said yes, I will do that. Okay. Now tell me.
Energy can be converted from one form to another.
No, don't listen to the neighbors. Then you will give wrong answer and I will handle you. Don't do that, okay? If you know, you will just answer it, otherwise also fine. Okay? You have learned energy and material transfer. There is a transfer of energy and material. When somebody leaves something else, energy and material transfer is happening. And also there is a loss of energy. Law of entropy also you look at. And law of optimization also. That's what you learn in thermodynamics, okay? And when you look at the nature, everyone is competing. And there is optimization. Okay? And when you see that compared to this, you look at your family. Mother will be competing with the neighbor's child. That is not a healthy competition. Or let us say some people competing with the neighbor. They want the neighbors to be down. Then only they think that their children are doing very well. But here look at everyone is shining. That's another principle of nature. Okay? Law of optimization. Okay, now as a student of biotechnology, you all work with microbes. How many species are there on the earth? Let us see. That's where you should look at the literatures. When you look at our scriptures, it talks about 8 to 12 million species of the varieties of species, the plants and animals. Why do you require the variety? If you have a variety, the diversity, you have diverse food and medicine. Because of the diverse medicine, you will have immunity. For example, when COVID happened, normally, look at the villages where COVID didn't happen. The COVID didn't happen in Western Ghat villages where diversity was good. Why? Because of the diversity, people were having the food which was providing the immunity to them. If you go to somebody's house in Bengaluru, you are slightly lucky you will get bread, isn't it? But if you go to the places where I work in Western Ghat, irrespective of the status, irrespective of the community, people invite us. When I was doing a study on landslides in Mandavar, it was when I finished the study, my team, around 1 o'clock. One of the local villager invited me home. I said, no, 1 o'clock, how will your family will take care of cooking for 6 people at this time? He said, you leave it to us. Will you eat or not? That's all you eat. I said, okay, I have no problem. But, we entered his home at 1 o'clock. 1:30, the dishes were ready. Rice for about 8 of us, plus 5 varieties of the thing. All the leaves which are there in the immediate vicinity, they have got and they have cooked varieties of the thing, chutney and all those things. And I felt that this, the food, which is so healthy. Whereas when you go to Bangalore, when you come here, and knock at somebody's door, They will say from inside, we are not at home. Okay? So that is kind of the thing you see. See, that is where the diversity is there, you get a diverse food and you are also, in a balanced state. In the world of bread and pizza, what do you see? Narrow-mindedness. Okay? So, now, let us see where this diversity occurs. Latitudinal, it extends from 8 to 22 degree latitude. As engineers, I am sure you know what is latitude, longitude, etc. X and Y coordinates. Now 8 degree to 22 degree is my study region. Now let us look at what is the diversity of life that is there in that region. When you plot number of species along the latitudinal gradient, x-axis gives the latitudinal gradient and y-axis gives the number of species. You see the highest number of species at 8 to 14 degree latitude. And if you look at 8 to 14 degree latitude, it is the Kerala and Karnataka part of Western Ghats. These are the regions where you have diversity of plants and animals. If I allow the destruction to happen, I will not have the diversity of plants and animals. Okay, when I don't have diversity of plants and animals, then I will not have the immunity. Now in the science, I said 8 to 12 million species are there on the earth. In the science we have talked about 1.2 million. Okay, we have estimated. And out of that only 3 or 4% we know the medicinal properties. Had we known the medicinal properties of all the species, we would have done wonders. Ramshaw University doesn't give this knowledge. How to identify it. And today it has become a fancy for everybody to talk about molecular aspect. Even if I show mango here, they are unable to identify the mango plant. But they say molecular wise, they will give me the sequence. That shows the gap in our system. I have no problem with your molecular techniques, but also have the knowledge of the conventional thing. How to identify the plant, morphological feature. Try to do that, okay? Now, the Western Ghats is a home for diversity of plants, as I said. Now, I need to protect that. We are talking about Raman effect. I also use the technology to study the health of the system. We use the pictures that is taken from the satellite platform for the long period. We launched the satellites way back in 70s. And every 21 or 30 days interval, you get a picture of the earth. What is the advantage of picture of the earth? Suppose you have a picture of yourself 10 years back and today. What is the purpose of obtaining such information? Why do you want that kind of information? Anyone want to attempt to answer?
See the difference. Know the difference.
To know the difference. Let the children also answer. Okay, you can also, you are also young, no problem. Had the student answered, I would have asked, what is this selfie business? Just 5 minutes back you have taken the photograph and now again you are taking picture. What is the purpose of that? I want the answer.
So if we have the satellite images of 30 years from now, like before 30 years, and now we have it, we can compare both of it and we can analyze what are the differences, in what areas the differences are present, and we can maybe predict in the next 30 years or so what differences can we observe and how can we how can we prevent that from happening.
Selfie. Capture. You are taking a photograph just now, and another shot after a few seconds. What is the purpose of that? We capture the. Who will have the memory of your stand 45 degree or 60 degree?
It's taking the photos from different angles to get to know. Okay, so if you're taking from the left side, right side, the differences in that, and the picture changes.
So, because of the directional changes, there is a change in the picture. Because of the change in the picture, the behavior of the person also changed. That is what I have noticed. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I
Capture the
remember.
moments.
Huh?
You may take pictures to capture the moment at that time. Over the period. Look into over the period.
Okay. Anyone else? This side some Manali was asking. Okay. Forget about your selfie. I'll come to that later. The same picture. If I have taken from the satellite, I would know that. Okay, what is the composition of the Earth? It is not just my Western Ghats, entire globe. Every 21 days from 70s you get the picture. Once you have the picture, you will know how the forest is changing, whether the forest is getting degraded. That's what we studied from 85 to 2018. We use the same visible bands, what Raman used for the scattering thing. We also use the same thing. Okay, and we also looked at what is the status of the forest, whether it's a fragmented or a contiguous or a this one. Okay, so I will come to that fragmented and contiguous, why it is studied. Okay, now when you see this, there's a degradation happening. Now when you look at the satellite data, this is a big data. Now the big data, we also developed the algorithm, artificial intelligence, machine learning. I was wondering whether Dr. Shobha will be there, because she said that she is from computer science background. So I thought that okay, she might understand that we also work on both of them. So my students have developed the algorithm. What I had worked earlier, that today the same algorithm with a new terminology, artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc. And now there is one more thing, deep learning also has come. I don't understand what is the deep in that learning. The same algorithm. What I coded in Fortran about 20 years back, today my students come and say it's the machine learning. I have to accept that. Okay. Okay. Now we also looked at how much carbon is stored in these trees. The photosynthesis is a very important activity in the plants. Okay. What is this photosynthesis? Can somebody tell me that? Because I am not a biologist. Huh? I thought you all had tea and biscuits just now, no? What is photosynthesis?
Absorption of the light through energy, like the plants will absorb the sunlight in order to produce food to store it.
Not the light gives food.
Yeah, like they are absorbing the light and converting into energy.
So if I absorb light, I am also absorbing. But I am not getting converted.
Like
Okay. See, there is something called carbon sequestration. The plants take the carbon dioxide, which is there in the atmosphere. In the presence of light, it converts the carbon to the glucose. Now that carbon is stored in the trees. Okay. How much carbon is stored? If you quantify, you can also tell the globe how much carbon our trees have removed. Earlier industrialization happened in other countries. You are not emitting, but we had only one earth. Our plants were doing a wonderful job of removing the carbon from the atmosphere. We quantified how much carbon is stored in the trees. And we said that it amounts to 1.23 million gigaton. Okay? You measure the girth and height of a tree. From that girth and height of a tree, you quantify the biomass. You find out the terrestrial as well as the root biomass. And then convert that into carbon. It's about 0.45 or 0.5 of the biomass in the carbon. So it amounts to 1.23 million gigaton. And every year, these trees sequester the carbon to an extent of 37,000 gigaton. When you see the 37,000 gigaton, every year it is sequestered. which amounts to the emission that is happening in the cities like Bangalore, then Trivandrum, Cochin, etc. That means nature knows how to balance the system, but unfortunately we are overloading. That is what is this one. And if you look at it in economic terms, it amounts to 100 billion rupees or 1.4 billion dollars. Now you might ask, why do you assign the value to that? See, when I go to international forum, I will tell them that trees in my forest have sequestered this much carbon. They have done the job for you all. You need to pay that much to us so that we can protect this forest. Otherwise, Indians don't have money because we all keep in Swiss banks and all those things. That is what is our problem is. Okay. Now, what is the likely scenario of this? We try to project that. There are more and more irresponsible fellows on the earth. Every fellow wants to loot. So that is the result. So that means there is a further degradation happening. And consequence of that changes in climate. There would be 0.5 degrees Celsius increase in temperature and rainfall pattern will change. The region which was receiving higher rainfall today will start receiving low rainfall. For example, Kerala will start getting low rainfall and northern Karnataka and Maharashtra will start getting higher rainfall. That is the problem. Okay, because you have a cash crop like areca which require more water, paddy, etc. in Kerala, that will go. Okay. And another interesting thing is number of rainy days will change. Rain is spread across 4 to 6 months. But instead of 4 to 6 months, it will come in 1 day or 2 days. You will have large quantum of water in a short duration. That is where you have the flooding. With the flooding, you have the landslides and mudslides. Okay? So, and the loss to the life and property. Okay. Now, with that, let me take you to the second. How many of you think that you require forest? You just write it. If you like that, you write both. There's some exercise. Now, all of you have raised your hands, except one or two. Those who have not raised the hand, I want to know, do we require plants or not? Okay. Now, see, this is the same region when I was of your age, when I was traveling there. I used to see a lot of water. Today I go to the same region, I see there is no water. Don't tell me with the age the water has disappeared. Why it is so? How many of you are from rural areas? How many of you are from slums? Called Bengaluru city. So because I saw some youngsters had hesitation when I said a rural area. You should feel proud of your home, rural area. You don't get the same life in Bangalore. Okay? So now you see that the water has disappeared. The same day, same month, water is not there. That could be because the vegetation has disappeared. Okay? To understand this, I will take you to a river basin. This is a Sharavati river basin. It originates at Ambutirtha, traverses 128 km, joins the ocean at Honavar in Arabian Sea. Okay? Now you ask any civil engineer, what is a river? All those fellows will say this blue line is a river. That's why they computerize it and all those things they do, the tamasha they do. You would have seen, even Kaveri also, the canals are, such a illogical thing they do. That is because these engineers of today are not trained properly. They were trained only to loot the resources because of computerization they can do. And in the process, the earlier people were having water in the well because the water used to get percolated. When you computerize it, there is no percolation happening. Today the farmers don't have water in the wells in that Varuna canal. And they break this canal. And when they break the canal, then the farmers are jailed saying that they are doing the wrong thing. But farmers' right to live was denied by this 21st century engineering. Okay? So now, in this river, we constructed a dam. Because of the dam, there is a water spread area, reservoir is there. In that reservoir area, there were 175 villages were there. Those villagers were forcefully removed from that region. They were dumped in the dry bed. These farmers, they were practicing wet cultivation, which means they were growing paddy, sugarcane, etc. But they were put in a dry bed. What will they do? They couldn't survive there. What did they do? They waited the reservoir work to be completed. They came back. They came to this region. They converted a forest which was there into this agricultural land, and eventually that became a degraded land. Now you might ask, any changes happened? Yes, there's a land cover change. Now the implication of that, whether rainfall has changed, let us try to understand. Okay? Today you have 122 years rainfall data. Just take the rainfall data. As a student of science, you should only make your judgment based on the data, not based on somebody says, like my friend was listening to the neighbor and trying to answer. No, you should never do that. You should always talk with your data. The neighbor's data is always dangerous because neighbor always compete with you. If you are shown in a bad light, the neighbor will be very happy. So that is what happens. So that's why when you have that 122 years data, you divide that into two time periods. We constructed a dam in 1965. 1901 to 1964. 1965 to today. You look at the rainfall. This entire region was receiving the rainfall of 3,000 to 4,500 earlier, before 1964. Now, this region continues to get 3,000 to 4,500 millimeter rainfall, and this region started getting 1,700 to 1,900 millimeter. If you look at the topography, entire region is a rain catching region. It is the orographic precipitation, there is no variation. But over a period of time, there is a decline in the rainfall. That is mainly because of removal of vegetation here, forest, because on the hill there are forests. The forest used to stop the cloud, and because of that rain used to happen. Today if you ask hydrological cycle, I don't know whether people know water cycle. Anyone of you know about water cycle? Can you explain? You can remove the mask right now.
Water cycle is basically how water is reused and recycled by nature within urban and rural areas in a symbiotic manner.
Only use. Okay. Anyone else? Water cycle. If you can give me the good answer, I will give a still better answer. Okay?
It is a natural flow of water.
Here you go. Then, natural flow, what is flowing? Cycle is not happening.
It comprises how evaporation, condensation, and precipitation happens.
Precipitation, that's all. Why I insisted on this answer? I was talking to class like this in Andhra Pradesh sometime back, 3 years back, before COVID. I asked what is water cycle. One gentleman got up. He said, you see outside. I saw outside. No rain was there. He said, see, people are carrying water pot and bicycle. When you carry water and bicycle, on cycle it becomes water cycle. Okay. Look at the thing. That fellow must be the WhatsApp University Vice Chancellor. So that is the problem. Such fellows faculty has become a threat to our system today. I was sitting a class for them under the FPP program. I just walked out of that. With that answer, I said, I am unfit to take a class. So I am just walking out. Then when I was in my room, the institution came forward. They said, one bad apple was there, but there were good apples, 40 were good apples were there. Why did you ignore? I said, I am not ignored. If the 40 are good, except one fellow, I will come next time, I will take a class. The next time I travelled on my own money, I took a class, and of course, the remaining was good. The message here is, I am not interested in talking to the irresponsible people. There is no point in teaching those irresponsible fellows. Okay? If you give the responsible fellow a little bit knowledge, they will shine. You give the voluminous knowledge to the irresponsible fellow, he will only grumble. best thing is to not to do that. Okay. So now coming back to this, you understood there is a link between the forest and the water. Now to understand this, I will divide this into sub-basin. You know, in each sub-basin, what is the forest cover and what is the rainfall, I look at. How did I divide? I have a tributary. This is the one sub-basin. You can see there are sub-basins on the western side, sub-basin on the eastern side. You can see that black polygon indicates that. Okay. Now each of that, what is the forest cover rainfall? If you look at on the eastern side, forest cover 30%, rainfall is 1748. On the western side, forest cover is 65%, rainfall is 4800. Or forest cover 60%, rainfall is 4400, which shows there is a link between the forest and rainfall. Now, whatever the quantity of rainfall you have got, how much water you will have is the deciding factor. See, if you have water throughout the year, you can grow crop. If there is no water, you cannot grow the crop. Now, to understand that, my student did a monitoring of the streams. You know, we put the sensors in the underlying layer. You know, to find out when it rains, how much water get infiltrated. If there is a forest area, if there is a plantation, if there is an urban area. So we have a representative catchment. You know, we put the sensors which give the data every month how much water gets filled, and after monsoon decide how much water moves laterally. You know, during monsoon you have water in the river because of the rain. But after monsoon, the water in the is because of the water stored here. Now here, you need to understand something, the role played by microbes. You know, when this vegetation covers the mother earth, the vegetation is diverse. Because of that, roots are diverse. When roots are diverse, soil microbes are abundant and diverse. When soil microbes are abundant and diverse, soil becomes permeable or porous. That means when it rains, the water percolates because of the microbial action. You see that how your microbes are doing the job of infiltrating the water and retaining that water. You know, after monsoon, the water that is stored comes to the river or stream. That's how you have the post-monsoon water. You know, my students, what they did, they monitor for 36 months. Why 36 months? Because they wanted to know from season to season what is the change and year to year the variation. And if the water is there throughout the year, they said the streams are A. If water is there for 8 months as B. If it is water is there in your well or stream for 6 months as C. And if the water is there only during monsoon as D. Okay. Now let us see where this ABCD kind of thing. A type of streams are there when the catchment has the vegetation cover of native species. You know, to an extent of 60%. If the region is covered with the 60% vegetation cover of native species, you have the water throughout the year. You know, when you convert that into monoculture plantation of acacia or rubber in the name of development, we have the water only for 8 to 6 months. When we declare the catchment with the forest cover less than 30%, you have the water only during the monsoon. Now, you see that when you have the water throughout the year, you are very happy because there is a prosperity at home. Now, to understand that, you see that our quantification shows wherever forests are there, about 60 to 65% of the water get infiltrated. You know, when it rains, the infiltration is one of the process, not just evaporation and transpiration. You know, you also have to deposit. And this is the region where forests are degraded. There is infiltration, not to that extent. Let us look at the demand in the society. People require water for agriculture, the domestic purpose, livestock rearing, etc. We quantify that. You see, in this region where forests are there, demand for water is also higher. Because the nature has the water, there is no scarcity of water. But wherever these degradations happen, the demand is there, but nature cannot meet the demand. Okay? Now, to summarize what I said so far, this is the region where 12 months water is available. This is 8 months, this is 6 months, depending on the extent of fragmentation here. And this is 4 months. Now, just look at how the forest is covered. You see, wherever forests are contiguous and continuous, in that forest you have 12 months water. Wherever fragmented, depending on the level of fragmentation, you have 8 to 6 months. Wherever forests are degraded to an extent, it's only 4 months. This is something similar to the way the vegetation. See, when Mother Earth is covered bird with a sari of native species. She retains the water for 12 months. When you convert that into synthetic sari, into rubber plantation, etc., she retains the water only for 6 to 8 months. That means we lose the water for 4 to 6 months. And when we degrade the catchment further, we don't have water. This is another message you can keep in mind. Earlier, when I was a student, when we read the literature, people said that if the trees are there, the water will go. So that's where the engineers who graduated at that time, they all started chopping the trees. Today they are all become irrigation engineers and all. Whenever they want to have any construction, first thing they do is chopping the tree. But for the first time, I have disproved that theory. That's where my publication became quite popular also, because everybody was saying that forests are not good. We proved that forests are good. So that's where the visibility comes, okay? So that we published in the current science. Those if you are interested can go through that, okay? Now, let us also look at where all the animals are there. See, we just map all the animals, larger mammals, etc. This simplicity is that various mammals, okay? They are there where water is there. Four-legged animals are there where water is there. Where water is not there, who is there? Only two-legged irresponsible fellows are there. Okay? So now, let us try to see how do we get the medicinal value of the desert. See, we identified two species, the two new species of which we described them. We have the credit of describing the species also. Shishtura has a medicinal value. True to our nature, we thought that okay, it is a medicinal property, let us bring it to the lab in Bangalore and culture it so that we become billionaires. But unfortunately, our organism didn't have the medicinal properties when we cultured it in the lab. So that means, if you want the medicinal property to be there, you need to culture it in its habitat. Now, for the organism to be cultured in its habitat, the water has to be there 12 months. For water to be there in your stream for 12 months, you need to keep the catchment with the green cover of native species. See the beauty of this, how the surroundings are, you are also. See, if you are in a region where only the smugglers are there, so your brain also will start thinking of smuggling. Okay? Suppose you are in the place where people are very humble and all, you will also turn out to be quite humble. Okay? That's how the surrounding matters, that is what we learn. Okay? Now, with the warming of the earth, changes in climate is happening. Now, with the changes in climate, one thing is going to happen is, we will not have water on the earth. If there is no water on the earth, who will survive on earth? Will you survive? Because anyway, I won't be there at that time. You are the next generation. Will you survive? No, you won't survive. Now, let me give an example of a frog. We call frogs as amphibians. Why we call frogs as amphibians? One at a time, last bench. Last person in the last bench. Yes, yourself. Okay, I showed arrow to the left. Okay, you got it. Yes, you can do that. No problem.
Sir, because it can survive in both the conditions like in water and without.
Okay, just listen to my interpretation. Amphibian stages in life cycle. First stage is a juvenile stage, tadpole stage is in the water. Next stage is an adult stage which is on the land. That's what my teachers taught me, and that's what when I observed the organism, I noticed. I don't know now in your WhatsApp whether it is, the things are changed. Huh? Now if there is no water, what will happen? The tadpole cannot survive. That means you will not have the frogs. Now look at the frog, the Philetus leucorhinus. We noticed that after fertilization the egg, there was no water in the stream, but still we saw the younger ones emerging out. That means this organism has learned to get adapted to structure by passing the tadpole stage. See, that's where when you observe nature, you learn many things. Those who don't observe Mother Nature, they don't learn nothing. That's why they become irresponsible and all kinds of things happen. Okay? So now, when my student reported that, I said, okay, let us get the egg to the Bangalore and monitor it. When we saw that on 14th day, the younger ones are emerging without water. That means the tadpole stage is not required. That means this animal has learned to get adapted to this. I don't wish that we should reach the stage, but let us wake up and minimize that kind of illogical design that is happening in various parts of the globe. Okay? We inherit lot of knowledge. If you look at Lord Shiva, the moment you see Shiva, you see lot of hair. He symbolizes the Mother Earth. That hair shows the forest. As long as the hair is there, it has the ability to retain the water. That's where Ganga is. When you look at our literature, you might feel that okay, it's all written in there. But there's a message you need to understand. That's where our elders said, wherever forest is there, water is there. That's when they started protecting a patch of forest as a sacred groves or a sacred forest. Those are the sacred forest. They knew that next generation is irresponsible. Like I am telling, next generation is irresponsible. No, that's what our elders also thought about. And that's why they designated a particular patch of forest as the sacred forest, hoping that people don't cut it. That's what you read in you saw in Kantara also. If you degrade the nature, how you will pay the price? Now Kantara has to come to tell you. So, but what has happened? People who are talking about Kantara, those are all the fellows, they converted forest into this kind of, Bengalurians and all these Mumbai fellows came there, They converted and put the idols and they think that if the idol is there only they have to do the worship. But nature can be worshipped without idols also. Okay? So, now if you don't learn from learn from the history. Eastern Island, people thought that land is available, they went on expanding. One day, island has to be vacated because there was no water. The similar thing happened in the last leg of Vijayanagara kingdom. It comes from that. That failed because of the water. Yes. That means our action leading to the deprivation of water on the earth will lead to our downfall. We need to understand that, okay? So now, how you can practice? Each one of you can, if you decide today, you can be the masters in this conservation program. My simple thing is, when you take food, take a balanced diet. You are conserving the water. My suggestion is, have pulses here and lentils or a lentil and the millets. Your water footprint comes up. But you might say, what is the use? Everybody asks, what is the use? If I am invited, somebody will say, what is the use of this fellow coming to us? Whether he will get funds to my institution, whether he is such a say. That is the use brain set is there. For them I have put it. It helps in optimal brain function. It prevents the cell degeneration. It also controls the blood pressure and sugar. Diabetes. Now, if you want to check this, one of my colleagues, after retirement he changed his food habit. If you look at his food plate, dinner plate, he has 5 varieties of vegetable, 5 varieties of fruit and a bowl of pulses. The 5 varieties of vegetable and 5 varieties of fruit, each of 50 to 100 grams, gives the immunity, whereas the pulses gives the stability. Today is about 75. He doesn't have blood pressure nor sugar, which we had earlier. That means this. Now, if you start practicing this, the good lifestyle at home, you see the footprint also. To grow a kg of pulse, you require only 200 liters of water. To grow paddy or wheat, you require 3,000 to 5,000 liters of water. And to grow sugar, you need about 12,000 liters of water. And also, these pulse plants are not eaten by animals. In a villages where human-animal conflicts are there, where a wild animal comes, like our Kaushik's village, I would say you should grow pulses so that animals don't come and damage your life and property. But unfortunately, ours is all, compensation. We want to grow sugarcane, we want elephant to come and destroy, and then ask for the compensation. That's an unfortunate attitude. This all happens because nobody thinks that this country is theirs, and nobody on the earth thinks that they have only one earth, they have to conserve it. Everybody is selfish. How much they can earn, they think. That is the thing. See, when you have healthy when you have this kind of practice, you are leading a life for environment. That means you have a healthy ecosystem, healthy planet, where there is a harmonious state of mind and body. That's what happens when we work in this kind of domain. We never get agitated. If you see that, hardly we get shout at anybody. But in Bangalore, we shout at everybody every alternate day. Okay? So now, with that I will come to Bangalore. Okay? Let us see how Bangalore was when Kempegowda was there. Like, today also Kempegowda is there. Who was standing in a 108 feet statue in front of our area. At that time when Kempegowda was there, we had 1452 water bodies, 80% green cover. Because of that, Kempegowda's head was very cool. The temperature in the region was 14 to 16 degrees Celsius. And during the December, for a few days, the temperature in the city was 0 degrees. And we were growing apples in the palace orchard, closer to my institute. And today, you see, the temperature has gone up to 34 to 37 degrees. And we have only 193 water bodies. Poor fellow standing there, Kempegowda is struggling to search for water bodies there. So, and what is the city today? I was seeing the city growing apples. Today, what do we grow? We grow garbage, waste fellows. So that is the, okay? So the city, which was a garden city, has become a garbage city and heading towards the dead city status. Now, how did Kempegowda's regime created a water bodies? River was flowing, they just wanted that. And because of that, they had water for irrigation and drinking. Okay, that was the thing. But today, our fellows are there. The moment they see the water body, they think of Lakeview apartments. Okay? And they will design, there are architects, they come with all kinds of wonderful designs. And even today, the day is not very quiet. We can get back Bangalore provided we re-establish the interconnectivity among the lake. And we have 193 lakes in Bangalore of 198 ponds. Okay? Now let us try to understand what is the use of lakes. Because there are some experts in Bangalore. They say lakes are not required for Bangalore urban area. Do you agree with that? Why do we require lakes? In Bangalore, you don't eat fish, you don't grow crop. Why do you need lakes? I want answers. Okay, last row, as usual. Yes, the girl with the black shirt and yellow. Yes, yes. Yeah. Why do we require lakes in Bangalore?
So it's like the Indian ecosystem. Like lakes will provide like I think so hope for the other aquatic organisms also, and even for the birds and other things also it plays a major role in their
See, that is where, yeah. If you tell the people, what is the function of this ecosystem? How we are benefited? Probably they will start thinking different. So when the so-called expert told in one of the meetings that lakes are not required in Bangalore, when I was fighting for Bengaluru and Vattur lake, I told him, lakes give fish. Probably you are a vegetarian not eating fish. I agree with that. Then the lakes help in groundwater recharge. You are a human being, require water. Probably you are getting water from Kaveri, even water is not required for you. Okay. But I have seen you taking a jog in the morning in the lake. That means lake provides recreation. With a half pant you are jogging in the lake with a half brain. Because of that half brain only you come and say lake is not required. See, all these kind of illogical things come only from those half brain, half pant fellows only. Because of that only they have half knowledge. That is where when I communicate, I give you the knowledge so that tomorrow I don't want the same fellows to appear on the earth again. Okay? So that's where I quantified. What are the roots it provides? Fish, etc. How much they provide and what is the worth of it. See, that's how the people know. If your mother is talking to the neighbor, no, she will say, my son got a job where he earned 1 lakh rupees. She doesn't think that the son is a human being and how humble he is. She thinks that okay. And your son, how much he gets? If she says 50,000 a month, she says okay, your fellow is 50% now. That's the kind of thing, okay? That's where we did the valuation to tell the poor ecosystem what is the worth of that. You know, when we did the study, we saw that, for example, if the lake is there, people get groundwater at 100 feet, 80 to 100 feet. When they removed the lake, in 5 years, groundwater table went down to 500 to 600 feet. And after 10 years or 20 years now, in Nagshettihalli, you know, groundwater table, they have gone down to 1900 feet, there is no water. Those fellows landed in my lab asking me to give water. I said, please allow the water to percolate. You fellows have computerized everything, nothing is getting into the system, that's why you have the groundwater scarcity in the region. Okay? Then, in terms of money, if you quantify fish, the fodder, etc., what is the worth? If the lake is good, you get a resource worth 10,500 rupees per day per hectare. Okay? If the lake is polluted, it comes to 20 rupees per day per hectare. However big you are, I don't think you will get this kind of revenue. You know, 10,500 rupees is a huge thing. Okay? And now, what are the threats to the lake? Unplanned urbanization. Why unplanned urbanization? Because none of our engineers who are doing the planning today, they have not got to the classes properly. They got into the business because of various criteria. You know, merit is not the criteria in our country. You have any other criteria, you are put into the system, so that's where that looting happens. Okay? So then we lost the flat plate, lost the interconnectivity among the lake, etc. Now, how the things are changing? You know, look at this. The city, which was green in 1973, 68% green cover, 7% is red, the building, blue is water body, yellow is open space. Today you look at the 2019, 81% is red. You see everywhere buildings. Okay? Now if you want to see this before your birth, how was Bangalore? See, 68% green cover. That's where Garden City was called. Okay? Then 92. We industrialized. The Pinion Kormangla, you see changes happening here. Then the 2000, you see that Majumdar Shah, then our Wipro fellow and Murthy, all of them landed in Bangalore. They changed the Bangalore here. All the buildings started coming, and 2006 further intensification, 2009, and today you look at 2021, it's about 85%. Or 2022, you look at, this is rate 86%. You know, the city, this photograph I had put it about 5-6 years back, even before COVID. I was telling Bangalore we will reach this stage. And we reached the stage. You know, today I see some of the elders using oxygen cylinders. That is the pathetic state. This is my student. When we went to Ladakh, we had that situation, there is the oxygen, nothing. That is but in Bangalore, we have reached the stage, okay? So now, what is likely to happen in 5 or 10 years from now? 98% would be concretized. You know, everywhere these architects will go and will put one more building there. So that is the choking happen. That's why I've been telling, enough is enough. Let us do the planning in the city, okay? My suggestion is let us decongest Bangalore. Okay? Now let us see how many trees are there in Bangalore. You know, this is my campus. You know, 400 acres. I asked one of my students to do the mapping of the campus. You know, this is the trees in campus, ground survey. We linked that with the remote sensing data, satellite data. We got to know what is the linkage between the remote sensing data and the ground, the trees. With that knowledge, in couple of words we did it. With that knowledge, using remote sensing data for the entire Bangalore, we found out where all trees are there. And of course, we did the validation also. Then we overlaid the boundaries of the ward, so that I know that every ward, how many trees are there. Because I know the population in each ward. Now, when we did that quantification, we have 14,78,000 trees for a population of 95 lakhs or 9.5 million. That means for 8%, 7 or 8%, there is one tree. How many trees are required per person? I am asking a question. How many trees are required per person? Do we require trees? Yes. Why? Are you sure that you require oxygen? Huh? Sure? Okay. I am sure you are all breathing, no? Are you sure? Must be, because the egg word, no, you must be breathing. See, when you breathe, what do you give out? How much you give out? Huh? You don't know. That means you are not breathing. If you are breathing, then you know that value you would have known. See, since you take rice, no, you know how much rice you eat. Am I right? Similarly, you should have known how much oxygen you are taking. Because every day you are taking oxygen, no? How much oxygen you are taking, or how much carbon dioxide you are giving out? You know, on an average, about 540 to 980 grams per person per day. Young people, 980 grams, about a kg. Elderly people, 540 grams. Okay? We are burdened to the society by 50% of need. Okay? Because our requirement of oxygen is lower. And 1 hectare of tree takes away about 6 to 9 tons of carbon dioxide every year. By that ratio, for every human being, there should have been 7 or 8 trees. But what we have in Bengaluru is 8% 1 tree. Now you might ask, is this a science? To answer that, I looked at the literature, whether I have done something great or it is already there. When I looked at our scriptures, it talks about the linkages. You know, when you look at the Bible, at least 320 times there is a mention about nature conservation. People going to church, they think only that going there for a few minutes and coming back is their job is done on Sunday. That's all. They have not taken the essence of it. Similarly, Quran talks about imminent war if you pollute the water. That's where when you visit Dargah, you have to wash your feet and finger with a clean water. A good Dargah always will have well. You have to pull the water and then you wash your feet and finger, then only you can go to the Dargah. Similarly, in our literature, if you look at Masya Purana, it talks about the linkage between the water and a child and the tree. If you have a well at home, you are wealthy. 10 wells are equal to 1 lake, 10 lakes are equal to 1 sarovar, 10 sarovar is equal to 1 child, 10 children are equal to 1 tree. That means benefit of having 10 children you can also have by planting and nurturing a tree. Had this known to my friend Lallu Yadav, he wouldn't have produced 11 children. But today 11 children, your fellow is doing a Gotala of 600 to 1000 crores. How much burden to the society they have become. So it's better to plant, okay, than having such fellows in the system. Okay? So that's what the message is, okay? So now I put it other way. Those who remove the tree, I said 10 children equal to 1 tree. Every time when they cut the tree, no, they are murdering their own 10 children. They might say, no, I don't have 10 children at home, I have only 1 son. I'll say there are 10 behind you. You have murdered them because of your action of removal. See, this is how the message becomes louder when you communicate to them. So should I stop my talk? 21 degrees in 90 became by 24 degrees in 2000 or 28 degrees in 2010. Today that is 7 to 40 degrees. Okay, you might ask what is the proof? For that we went from the center of the city in 8 directions. We just mapped the temperature in various locations and what is the land cover. See, wherever lakes are there, temperature is 2 degrees lower. Wherever parks are there, green cover is there, temperature 2 degrees lower. That's where, you know, before this, all these concrete buildings came here, no, the temperature in this campus was 4 degrees lower. But today, it is 4 degrees higher. Okay? So, that's what we notice. That means lakes and the greenery makes the moderate the climate. That means it moderates the microclimate in the region. Okay? So now, how we are managing the lake, let us see. No, we dump solid waste. Okay? And if nobody notices, we will enclose the lake and construct lake view apartment. Some fellow from Hyderabad, Chennai and all, they will invest here, thinking that they do apartment. But when they come here, they will have dengue and chicken because of the money present also. And you know the lake which was before your birth, gentlemen, before 2001, okay, 91, it was like this, okay. Now today, look at this, lake is covered with a macrophyte. You know the presence of invasive species shows that there is the nutrient enrichment is happening. Nutrient enrichment because we are disposing our effluent and wastewater with the nutrient into the water body. So when there is a profuse growth of macrophyte, you know the sunlight will not get into the water body. You know because of that food chain will fail. You know since there is no sunlight, algae doesn't grow. Since algae is not there, you do not have fish. That's why the value of the lake from 10,500 come down to 20 rupees per acre. Okay. Now if you look at the physical-chemical properties of the lake, you see that the dissolved oxygen at this location inlet, if it is zero when sewage is there, by the time water moved to the outlet, the dissolved oxygen is about 10 to 12. That's what our study shows. But when it is covered with the macrophyte, you see that at the outlet, the dissolved oxygen is 3 and 4. That means lake is not doing the job. We have killed the lake. Okay? Now how? See, when you kill the lake, what will happen? Frothing happens. That shows that lake is being stressed with the nutrient and fire. You know, when the frothing was happening, the international media came and I used to be there. You know, frothing was happening earlier also. Some of the local people approached me saying that how to solve the problem. We were thinking how to address the problem. When the frothing happened in a big way during the period 2014, I told these local people, let us just publicize it. And that is where the international media and all started coming to the Bengaluru. We started looking at what is the solution. See, to address the frothing, you have to look at the source of pollution and curtail it. But what our fellows, you know, today's engineers, you know, your parents at home or my age group fellows, what did they do? They put the barricade. You know, because the froth was coming to the road, no? And all those photographs used to come in the international media. To cover up that, they put that barricade on this one. They claimed that they solved the problem. In fact, I wrote an article saying that this is ADAP, it won't solve the problem. And VDHF called me and said, sir, you are always a critic of us. I am not this one, we have succeeded in that. Then I said, your success is for 4 days. Then as I predicted, 5th day, the froth crossed over. You know, only the thing I didn't understand at that time was that putting a barricade involves money, 2 crore rupees. You know that 40% of 2 crore, how much is the money? This is not 40%, probably the 60% or 80% they are looking. But they didn't solve the problem. Then at that time I had written a published an article saying how to rejuvenate the lake. Local people took it to the Supreme Court. Then the NGT penalized the government of Karnataka 500 crores and they said lake has to be rejuvenated. Then the NGT constituted a committee. I'm in the committee. Santosh Hegde is the chairman of the committee. See, that is the power of the science. You know, we made the government to pay 500 crores for polluting the water body, for allowing the pollution to happen. That could happen because of my students monitoring the lake. That is where the youngsters like you are required in the system. So you can be the watchdog, you can solve the problem. Don't think that it's not possible. Of course I got a fail, but at the same time there was a threat also. Every time when I move out of the home, I used to tell, if I don't come back, don't worry. Okay, that was the message given to them. Because they knew that I am under the stress. But still, you know, we succeeded. And today the Bengaluru and Vattu lake is being rejuvenated. And that, if it happens, that is my contribution to the battle. You know, the Eastern part, that glory of one day, we need to sustain. That is where youngsters like you, however busy you are, however irresponsible you were yesterday, at least from today onwards, think about the mother earth and see that you monitor it. Okay? Well, if you don't do it, what is going to happen? Let us try to understand. People grow vegetable in the vicinity. And vegetables and milk they consume. We collected the fish sample from the lake, vegetable which is grown in the vicinity, and also the milk sample. When we analyzed that, we saw the heavy metals in that. Having heavy metal in the dish is not a good sign. Is it a good? When heavy metal get in, then you have the problem of cancer, kidney failure, etc. The most pathetic situation I come across is when I visit the schools. In one of the government school in Ramchandra, I saw the 8th standard boy saying that he has lost both the kidneys. Poor fellow. When I go to the another school, which is a private, semi-government school, I saw the LKG. One girl child had lost their one kidney. Okay? In the same school, 8th standard, the girl child, both the kidneys are. When I look at their parents, they earn only 15,000 a month. For a dialysis every week, about 3,000 is required. This is the cost of the pollution. You do not know who is next is losing the kidney. In my institute, 2 of my colleagues I lost last year because of the kidney failure. So that means don't think that only people in the Bengaluru, Vattur are affected. Because the food grown there, when it comes to the market, it will not have the label saying that it is grown in Bengaluru or Vattur. That means the contaminant from there is getting into our food plate. We have such a cruel fellows in the system, to send the pomegranate or the other this one, we inject potassium permanganate on such the coloring thing and we sell it in the market. We are giving carcinogen to the people. So that is where, as long as awareness is not there in the system, this is bound to happen. Okay? Now, let us see, when we talk about rejuvenation again, I also looked at rejuvenation involves the removal of the silt that is accumulated over a period of time. When you look at the thing silt, people think it is a burden. I proved that it is not a burden, it is a resource. When I quantified that, this is where my students did the quantification. We did the bathymetric analysis to say how much silt is accumulated, how much has to be removed. We found that about 11 million cubic meter of the silt is accumulated in the system. Then the moment my report is available, I was pushing for desilting of the lake. Some experts came up. They said, TVR's report says 11 million cubic meter. If we have to remove this silt, all our roads get choked and traffic already problem in Bengaluru. Then I looked at who are these fellows who are objecting. These are all fellows with the enzymes. The remediation to the enzymes. So in one of my meetings, the people came. They said they are part of the art of living. I jokingly said, you are part of living. They said, we have discovered an enzyme which solves the problem of the lake. I said, wonderful. Give me the formulation of that. And give me the field trial, the test report. They said, no, this is from Sri Ravi Shankar's place. You should allow us. I said, even if it is from God, I cannot allow it because if I introduce that, tomorrow if it turns out to the biological bomb, I cannot take the risk. So then when I insisted for the thing, the next meeting they didn't come. See, this enzyme business, our interesting thing is, you should also keep in mind, handling the pollutant at source is much cheaper than coming with the recurring problem of the business. Every day you have to put enzyme, the fellow will get a revenue every day, that enzyme fellow. Okay? Whereas if I had removed the silt, I have solved the problem for the day. And silt is being removed, there is no traffic problem actually. And the lake, when I look at the lake in Vattur Lake, didn't have any contaminant. I asked the farmers to take that silt. Farmers said that, no, your report says earlier you have talked about heavy metal, there must be heavy metal. Then I asked the people to do the study. My student did the analysis. Then I asked pollution control board to do the analysis. All the reports are identical. There was no pollutant in Vattur Lake. Because Bengaluru Lake was as a wetland, it was doing the job of remediation. So the Vattur silt didn't happen. I convinced the farmers, the 400 acres we supplied the silt. After 4 months when I visited the place, I insisted the people, the government people, to take me to those places because of my decision the silt has gone there, whether they are affected. So when we visited, even probably the Prime Minister won't get that kind of the reception. Each farmer had a bumper crop. Each farmer comes and tells me, because of my decision, per acre, they got 1.5 lakh rupees more than what they were getting. They returned all those vegetables. Okay? See, that is how the nature rewards you when you do something interesting. This is where you have to bring out the anomalies. You should solve the problem of that. Okay? So now the message here is the farmers are happy. Since farmers took the silk, I don't have to shift it to the very far away places. So my traffic problem also I have solved. Okay? That's where the solution happened, and that's where science is the only way of communicating to the people. If you communicate it effectively, you will have the success. Okay? Then what else could be done? You can do the wastewater treatment, because we are talking about the global science for global well-being. Whatever the science I have done, it's applicable throughout the globe. The technology I talk about, I have put it in China. But only the thing is, success in China is much faster than India. When I go there, give the suggestion, when I go back next year or 6 months, I see things working there. In India, I will be happy if it happens in my lifetime. So that is the thing. But don't be disappointed. Feel that, okay? See, but don't be disappointed. When this happens, that's also an opportunity for you to handle this, okay? So now, what are the things? Wastewater treatment based on the nature principle. I demonstrated this, and it is working, And then rainwater harvesting. These are the various things, okay? And most important thing is empowering the youngsters with the knowledge. You have a message. What Dr. Suma talked about it in the morning. We care, we nurture, we empower. Empower the youngsters with this knowledge. They will be highly successful in their career. Okay? So now, what is this bioremediation concept? Government said that they will put a treatment plant, secondary treatment plant, which was not removing the nutrient. When you have sewage letting into the water body, it has got chemical ion and also it has the nutrient. Okay? Now that nutrient is not removed in the secondary treatment. So what I did is, because I was in the committee, I will give a small history behind it. 2005, when we did the study of the Chappur Lake, and surrounding there was 25 wells were there. All of them had nitrate. Nitrate is a carcinogen which introduces cancer. So then I pushed the government to rejuvenate the lake. Okay? When the lake was being rejuvenated, I was in the committee. I pushed that my technologies should be incorporated there. Then after that is done, last 10 years, it was done in 2009-10, last 10 years my students have monitored. And we have put the report, the entire report is available online. Today, if you look at Chappur Lake, surrounding that there are 300 wells. None of the wells on a Chappur Lake has a nitrate. I have a satisfaction of giving the solution to at least to those 300 well users without any contamination. That is how the science has to reach the destination. That's what has happened, okay? This is a simple experiment of bioremediation. That's what Madam was talking to me in the morning, okay? So that is where the I think she was telling. Yeah. Now, what else can be done? So, I created water body in the campus. Because I had an opportunity to be a member of the committees and all. When I was there, I pushed my agenda. My agenda is always nature friendly. This has become an experimental field for my students who does the biofuel studies. Okay? And how much water I am storing? 10 lakh liters. How much water I am consuming per year? Every day I require 500 liters. My family require 500 liters. I am on the campus. That means about 1.5 lakh liters. I am giving back to the nature 10 times that. If every citizen on the earth does that, there won't be any resource scarcity. But what we do, what we consume, 10 times that we put the waste on the earth. such a wasteful fellows are there on the earth. Okay? So now, I see that there is this also. You know what is this organism? Otter. You know, otter is a voracious eater of fish, like Malayalis. Okay? They eat a lot of fish. I am sure some from Kerala. But I don't want to feed fish because my job is not to feed animals or all those things. My job is to create the system. And when my student did the documentation of biodiversity, we see that there is enough fish, there is algae and zooplankton. That means the nature knows how to establish. My job was only to facilitate that. Okay? And when I meet people, I also give knowledge to them. So that's how this gentleman is from Mudbidre. You know, 2014-15, Mudbidre had a severe water crisis. And he didn't know how to solve the problem despite being sick. I was traveling in 2016 in Bengaluru. I was in St. Aloysius. He came to know that through the media that I am in this town. He just asked for the appointment. When I met him in the night, around 9 o'clock, because I had a session till 7 o'clock at St. Aloysius. 9 o'clock, he listened to the presentation like this. Then he said, I have 12 acres of land. Then I told my student, hey, this is a golden opportunity, let us grab it. The very next day, myself, my students, you know, they carry the gadgets along with that, they carry the brain. The students, youngsters don't carry the brain, they carry some instrument called, that stupid instrument is there now, called mobile. That's why they depend on that, okay? You know, we did the measurement to find out where is the lowest point, how much water can be stored. We gave that proposal to him on this one, on May 14th, May 5th, we handed over the document to him. Believe it or not, within 15 days, he created a water body. I told him that next there will be rain on June 5th. When it comes, you will have water. In the meanwhile, I also pleaded with him, why don't you restore the lakes in Mudbidre so that simple desilting will help. Okay? He said, no, I cannot do that. I said, you do at least 1 or 2. The remaining I will take care, I said. Because I knew that if he does 1 or 2, the remaining will be done by his devotees. As I predicted, all 32 lakes were rejuvenated in Mudbidre. Last year, there was a scanty rainfall in that region. But Mudbidre didn't face the water crisis because of this initiative. Our country has a lot of water bodies. You know, if you do the management of water body, you will not face the water crisis. That's what should have happened. Now when I see the success, you see there is a youth. Today I came here with a hope that you also can change the world. You know, I see the youth and even the same is age. Okay, I see the success is because of the youth. When you are young, less than 25 years, you are the performers. When you cross 25, you become a cynic, critics. That's why you see at your home now, your parents say, what is the use of this and that? They become cynic. Okay? So that is where when I saw these youngsters, I thought I should encash on them. There was a CEO of Arivas was there. I made sure that he creates a water body in his campus which stores 25 lakh liters of water and does the native species planting. Okay? When I visited him next year, I see greenery with abundant water. That's a proof that you can have water with the vegetation. And something very interesting, you know, this gentleman was a poor fellow when he met me, not married. Okay, but after creating water body, in 6 months, he gets a partner, wonderful partner, who take care of the joint family. Unlike the marriages happens in Bengaluru, no, through the Facebook, all faceless fellows get along, and then, you know, the next month they think about divorce. Unlike that, this lady takes care of the joint family. When I travel, I am treated in their home. You know, I am not allowed to eat outside. That's mainly because that girl comes with the culture, samskar. You know, that came because this gentleman did the nature-friendly job. See, that's how it rewards you when you do something for the society. But don't do something for the getting the reward. That's a bad thing. Okay? Now, come to my campus. You will see this plant. I was also attracted to this. I said I should have this architecture, this wonderful thing in my campus. I brought that, that pot which had 14 seeds. into the campus. Out of 14, I planted 7 in 7 locations, other 7 I have kept in my land. Because I know some people will say that what is the proof that you have planted? You know, for the success there are many fathers, but failure there is only one fellow. Okay, that's the thing. That's what I had thought. And out of 7, only one succeeded. That is next to the building where I work, for the 2 decades. That means even the plants know who will take care. Other 6 were in 6 different places. Since they are farther away, even though the soil is same, climate is same, the same person has planted, but still it didn't survive. That means nature knows who takes care. Okay. Then in front of that building, we created a mini forest. This is the beauty of the youth. You know, when I was a student, we did this thing. In a 2 hectares area, 49 native species, 500 saplings were planted. You come there today, you get a feel of the rainforest. You know, some of you must have come to the campus as the open day. Invariably, people visit my site. You know, they do not know who has planted because we have not put the nameplate. But some people will mention that is TVR's plant. Okay. So now, in this mini forest, you know, the temperature in that area is 2 degrees lower. What I said earlier, I have a proof here. Groundwater, which was 150 feet earlier, when the region was covered with the Parthenium, I have the water at 10 to 15 feet. That's another proof of my statement. So now, nobody can criticize me saying that I am talking out of turn. If they have to prove that it's not happening through their experiment. It will take another 25 years for them. Okay? So which they will not do. The critics will never do the job. They only talk, that's all. Okay? So then we communicate. You know, I've been conducting a program from 98. You know, one of the popular programs is Know Your Ecosystem. This is for the schools and college students. Okay? And we go to myself, my students. You know, see, my teachers are all here, my students. They take the class. I learn from them. The new idea, new concepts I do. Okay? And we also have been conducting a course on environment management and solid waste management. 20 years such. In the last 20 years I have been doing that. That's how we do the capacity building of school children and people industry at all levels. My agenda is when I sensitize people, they become responsible and sensitive. Okay? So then we conduct a symposium popularly known as Lake Symposium. You know, I have conducted 13 events. This is once in 2 years. You know, that means last 25 years I have conducted 13 events. If you look at the event, it's a 3-day event. The international delegates are there, national experts are there, and also school and college students, they attend. Not only they attend, they also do the presentation. When they attend, they acquire the knowledge. When they do the presentation, they become confident. So that means I am generating a confident youth for my country so that they can shoulder the responsibility. The students who took part in 98, today are the faculty in various institutions like IITs, etc. You know, I have the satisfaction of giving the sensible youth to my nation. Okay? So then, what kind of experiment they do? Here the children are doing a carbon sequestration. You know, they measure the depth and height of a tree, quantify the carbon, find out how much carbon gets stored. Or the catchment mapping they do, water quality. They have been trained by my student. They come and use the water testing result. They analyze in our lab. Now we have set up the water testing lab in various institutions. And also children in rural area, they do the neighborhood mapping. Okay? When they do that child who doesn't want to leave their home. You know, because of the knowledge they get. Okay? Because they will know what kind of resources are there in their village. Okay? And the work what we did in 2010, you know, at that time people said solar energy is a useless thing. We have 130 days, cloudy days. I proved them wrong through the analysis showing that we have sufficient solar energy. You know, the country's solar program is based on this one. And today if you look at 65% of our youth are youth population. I have abundant solar energy which meets the electricity requirement. And my students are working on biofuel today. We are hoping that we will make inroads in that sector also. So that's the hope for the country. I can make the country develop more. Okay? You might, this shows that whatever the people criticized earlier, there is no solar energy. all the region where I said hotspots of solar energy, today I see the mega plants have come up in that region. When I visit that place, I feel proud that because of some of my action, things have worked in those regions. Whether it's Rajasthan or Gujarat or Jammu Kashmir, okay? Then today we are looking at the biofuel. See, these are some of the algae we are looking at. We thought that third generation biofuel is the thing. In fact, when I was sitting here, our Kaushik said, I had 2-3 slides on biofuel also, maybe they look interested in biofuel. I thought, okay, let me do that. Some algae are rich in starch, carbohydrate. From that you can get the ethanol, okay? Some algae are rich in the protein or the lipid, okay? So those which has lipids, if you identify that, you can extract the lipid and then convert it into biodiesel, okay? See, if you look at earlier, people started with the food crop, that is the first generation biofuel. Then they went to the next generation, the lignocellulose thing, the land become problem. First was the first generation had a food and the energy conflict, then land and energy conflict. Today, 79% of the landscape on earth is covered with water. Algae is there everywhere, including your water. So if you know what is the potential of that, you can also convert it to the biofuel, okay? So then, this is the lipid. That is the hope, okay? How to increase the lipid? You don't give nutrient to the algae, it will store the lipid. You give more nutrient to the algae, it will not store the lipid. That's what I said earlier. When you eat protein, okay, you will not have the lipid in your body. That bad lipid won't be there in your body. The same thing is true here. Here I want more lipid. Here I don't give the nutrients. So when you stress the algae of lipid, algae of nutrient, you will have more lipid. Okay? You can enhance the productivity. Okay? So that is where the third generation biofuel we started talking about. A lot of species are there, about a lakh species we do not know the thing. Only these jokers know, they take some the strains from the repository, like Chlorella, vulgaris and all. Every paper talks about only that. But apart from that, there are lakhs of species. If you have the will, you can change the system, you can find out what is the lipid content. That could be the undergraduate program, the project course. Okay? So, how to do that? Okay? First find out what are the species are there. Okay? Identify the species, estimate the fuel prospects of that. Okay? And of course, if you are looking at the diagram, these are attached to the substrates, like stones, etc. The floating algae, you have to design a bioreactor and all. It becomes very expensive. Here, you have the stone, you culture the algae on that, you can scrub it so that it becomes economical. After that, you have to break that shell because the diatom has a shell. So that's where you do the sonication, etc. After that, you have the lipid converted into biodiesel through the transferification. That's the process we do that. When we are doing this, we thought that why don't we use the transferification again, you have to use the chemical. We thought let us reduce the burden of this chemical. So I told my student, let us look at the biological route. She followed the strain where it becomes biocatalyst we used. Some of the strains of the fungi that to get the, that's where we have this. And this is at the field level we try to have the biorefined. See, biofuel with the value-added product, biodiesel with value-added product like cosmetic material, etc. It becomes very attractive. You can take it up under my the government various programs are there, skill this one, all those things. You can have the startups under that. Okay. Then these are the things that we have published. It's available online also. The publication is available. Okay. Then we also looked at the I will skip this. I will counter. So and we also said where all the species occur. We have done the job for the people. What kind of species are there? What kind of environment and all those things. Where it's only thing is you think about the next stage. How to commercialize it and how to do it. Some insights of the what is the quantity of lipid, etc. we have talked about it. Okay? These are the various atom species that we have looked in the west coast. Okay. Then we also come across the macroalgae, which are rich in carbohydrate. So that's what we looked at. What are the species? Because first of all, we didn't know what are the species are there in the west coast. East coast people are known, but west coast the people are not known. In fact, my student was telling me, sir, there are no literature in west coast. I said, that is the gold mine. Let us work on it. Let us fill the gap. And she worked on that. And she is incidentally a biophysics student. Biotechnology student from Ramayana. So she she did the survey to find out what species are there in the west coast. And then this carbohydrate is a polysugar. You have to break it into the simple sugar. Hydrolysis is the thing. Then after that you ferment it, you have ethanol which you can blend with the fuel. That's what we came up with this. Then we also say that the simultaneous hydrolysis and the fermentation also, we come across some of the strains of the yeast which can do that the thing. So it can become a thing. Now, there are huge quantity of agricultural residues, bagasse and things. You can use the same this one to convert that into ethanol. You can have a you can make billions of this. Okay? So that is the simple thing. So finally you have the fermented and you have bioethanol from that. Okay? And of course in our paper we have talked about science aspects of it. These are some of the fish stocks which we have documented from that region. So you have the famous, these are some of the families in that region. Okay. So, and we also looked at where all, suppose you want to have industries in various places, where all you can have this kind of industries, we looked at map the resources available in various regions. Okay. And in India also. Okay. So, then what else we have? See, if you come to my lab is well illuminated. Our people are so generous, electricians. They have put so many tubes, some 320 watts. What I did, I looked at it. I said, I don't require so many tube lights. Because people having so many tube lights, they become tube lights. So then what I did is I switched over to the 16 watts LED bulb, which gives the same amount of illumination. Okay? If you come to my lab, above that we have the solar technology, renewable energy. So that is, then you saw the water body. So that means energy and water, what I talk, I also practice that. If you need more details, these are the web pages, you can get the details. These are the Western Ghats biodiversity. And if you are interested in open source software and GIS, this is the portal where you get. And these are the summer portal where my publications are archived in other places other than IISC also. Okay? So now, these are the labs we have created in various institutions. You might ask, are you Tata Birla to create the labs in the various institutions? I am not Tata Birla. But fortunately, our people recognize our work. They give the award. Sometimes the awards carry the cash prize. That is what is diverted to for creating them. My policy and my family policy is that what we got from society, we don't want to use it for our family. So that's why we give it back to the society. That's what we have done by creating the water testing lab. My idea is that when I sensitize the young child of the implication of pollution, that child will not allow the pollution happen in our system. And when that is happened, we will have a secure earth. That's what I am looking for. Otherwise, every fellow wants to optimize by, putting the polluted into pomegranate and all those things and killing the people. That fellow might get the thing. But they will end up paying the result. See, for example, I am very happy to see there is no plastic bottles here. Otherwise, every institution when I go, first thing will come the plastic bottled water. Out of curiosity, I did a study to see what it consists other than the water. I found dioxins are there. Then I thought these fellows, when they invite, they give me the dioxins so that I die early of cancer. So that is the kind of the reason, okay? So see, that is where you need to know the implication of your actions also. So that is where the understanding of the subject will make you to have clarity on those things. Okay? When you look at my web page, these are the publication is available online. If you want to know about biofuel, there is a biofuel section here, photo research paper section here. Click on that. There are various streams under biofuel. I have told some of you are interested in biofuel. You can read that article. You can read. You can replicate the technology. I have no problem, but never copy paste. Be conducted. If you are doing good job, it's because of these youngsters. When the youngster does a good job, there is a smile on everybody's face. Thank you very much.